Hello, friends, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Squad Pod. I am Maddox Jr., and this week we will be discussing Onrush, Crossfire X, and our game of the show, Apex Legends. Dropping hot into the podcast this week, we have the international man of mystery who is far too chill to rage, Bone Jangles.
How's it going, Maddox?
It's going good.
Good.
Next, the guy who is surprised every time I introduce him, Kevin Asex.
What's up, dude? What's that? Is that my thing? Do I do that?
Sure, it can be if you want.
Kevin has no
I
idea.
don't think
who he
anyone
is.
else has a
He's still
trademark
finding
on
his
that.
identity in the war zone. Okay, just let him find it. He'll figure it out.
I'm gonna make
Someday.
an emote saying to be
Yeah,
pretty cool.
that makes sense. That makes sense. No one's ever done that before, so.
No one, dude. Maybe a wizard, White Claw. You know, I'm just saying.
And speaking of the White Claw wizard, Washburn. Suh, dude.
Suh, dude.
And finally, rounding out the squad for this week, live from Lake Tahoe, the esports commentator and professional hype man, Snowbike Mike. How you doing this
make
week?
me blush. I'm smiling. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. And I'm pumped to jump into one of my considered big three battle royales. So I'm excited about this week's episode.
All right. And this week we've been playing a few games. Mike, would you like to start off with a little talk about Onrush?
Yep. Everybody, I need you to jump into the passenger seat of my vehicle because we are going to talk about a demolition racer called Onrush. I'm going to give you the quick, brief description from their website. Onrush is a new breed of high-impact, adrenaline-fueled off-road arcade racing. It's about speed, takedowns, teamwork with high-tempo thrills that focus on fun, excitement, and the spectacular. It's not that spectacular. No, for real. We just played Onrush this week. It was on sale with Xbox storefront for about $4. It is a team-based arcadey demolition-style racer. And I'll be honest with you, everybody listening, I'm sure the guys will echo the sentiment. We had fun. We enjoyed it, but it's not really that good of a game. But you know what? For what it was, I've never played a team-based destruction racer title, so it seems kind of out of nowhere, but I smiled through it. I won't ever play it again.
It felt like.
Go ahead, Kev.
I would say the game felt like an arcade cabinet style racer game that you see at your local pizza place or movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was worth it at that price we paid for. How much was it? Like, you paid like $4.
$4.
Yeah, I think it's worth it at that. I don't know who would pay the $60 and not be mad about that. Because I mean, man, that game just feels like, I don't know. It's not that much. It's fun, but I don't know. It doesn't feel worth the price to me, at least. I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's just a different type of. I don't even want to say racer. And Maddox was saying earlier, you're not really racing anything. It does sort of feel like Kevin said, an arcade cabinet style game where you're going fast. I will say that Codemasters, the developer, who also made all the Grid games and I think the Dirt games, right? They do know how to make you feel like you're going fast, and I think that's something that Onrush does really well. Is it? I feel like I'm just flying, especially when I get on the bike and I'm just holding down the boost button.
Throughout the multiple game modes, it was you're like, oh, which one are we gonna get this time? And we got for the first 3 games in a row, we got the same mode. We're like, is there other modes? But it's team based, and you're just like, one of the modes was trying to hit gates and build up time on the other team, and hopefully they run out of time. There was one where you just said, I'm in. What do we say, Mike?
I'm in.
I'm in a minute. Circle, where you're like trying to guard a circle that's moving along with the race course, and then what was
I can actually give you the rundown of them if you'd like, really quick, Maddox.
Okay, sure.
So there's 4 game modes in this game.
Okay, 4.
Washburn brought it up. Our first one was Countdown. Countdown is race through gates against a decreasing clock. Then Lockdown, where we described we're in. Lockdown is a race for fight for control of a moving zone at 100 miles an hour. So essentially King of the Hill. Switch. Survive as long as you can, hunting down your opponents. You'll get increasingly stronger vehicles. We never played that. Overdrive mode is pure boost to win onslaught until the very end. So that was probably the combo breaker mode that we played. So
Yeah.
4 modes, we played 3 out of them. We never played that switch one at all, but they all felt different. It felt fun to me as not a big racing guy because it was like, hey, we're not going to point A to point B. It's just kind of a loop track. It's cool environments and it's not fully a loop, but like it's going to go from the start all the way wrap around. You're going to do a couple laps. And the main goal is just to destroy people or do sick tricks like me and Washburn were doing.
There was also motorcycles in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I played I forgot when it came out, but when they gave it away for PlayStation, I played. I don't remember there being vehicles you could switch between two, like the car and the motorcycle. What was the advantage of either of those? Do you guys know if there was any?
They all just have different abilities. So like on the motorcycle, every car has like a rush mode, right? Or an on-rush mode or whatever they call it. And for the like one of the motorcycles, the way you fill up that gauge is by doing tricks. So that's like one of the motorcycle's, unique abilities. Another ability on the motorcycle is when you trigger that onrush mode, you become like the Tron bike and you're leaving like a trail behind you that if people run into, they get, demolished. Versus some of the cars where when you trigger that mode, you fill that gauge in different ways. They have different abilities. Like one of the cars has like a smoke screen that it puts out and blinds you. Another car like leaves behind walls that can slow you down. So each one handles a little bit differently, but really the main difference is the abilities that they all have.
Yep. So 8 total vehicles, 2 motorcycles, 6 cars, all ranging in cool, unique abilities for each and every one. And you can definitely feel it. I think one of the coolest parts about the game as well is you can change on the fly, right? The moment that your car gets destroyed, you can immediately change to something else to either help the team meta or just play in a different style. So it'd be like I'd be whipping around on the motorcycle and I get to the point of like people keep destroying me in these big cars and I just get the enforcer and just try to smash into them immediately for a couple of laps.
My thing with it is it felt to a certain degree like Burnout. But then when you like run into cars, it didn't feel like when you run into the AI cars that are just scattered throughout for you to get extra points. Those kind of feel like the Burnout feel where you just be like boom and they go flying off. But when you ran into the other player cars, it was like you weren't sure if it was going to knock them off the course or run them into something. It just didn't have that little last piece that would make it feel a little bit better overall with the driving and the running into people.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is a $20 title right now I'm looking at. So for us to get it for $3, not that bad of a buy. But like we said, right, there was only 4 game modes. We only saw 3 of those. There's probably less than 5 maps total. But for us to play a night of racing together, I think that's the kind of racer that I like. I know Maddock and Washburn are a little bit different on the racing scene. I'm more of a arcadey, let me just bang into you type of race car driver, as opposed to stay on the track, take the tight turns, really work on reducing your time and learning those maps to a T. I'm all about like, hey, let's get twisted metal right now. Let's smash into each other. So a 5v5 destruction type game where you're going really fast actually speaks a lot to me. But I think the player base, the game modes, repetitiveness, it just wasn't worth the time. But it was good enough for one night.
Were you getting rewarded at all with like new cosmetics or anything like that? XP levels? Yeah.
Yep. All that. There's like new skins for the cars and
even characters too. They had drivers that you could customize, calling cards, emblems. I mean, they had the whole shebang that you could do. I think you might be able to buy stuff in that. So they probably have a micro transaction system like every video game on the planet now does. But it did at least have some customization. It was odd to think that you could customize your driver, even though you rarely saw him unless you're on a motorcycle. That was odd to me, but you know what? Another layer on there. Why not?
Yeah, I think the only time I saw
about that.
The only time I saw my driver, wasn't the motorcycle. And other than that,
oh yeah, that makes sense.
I think no. Maybe if you look behind you, you can catch a glimpse of your driver inside the car. But yeah, that was a weird feature. Customizing your driver. I guess at the end you can see your driver. When they're showing the stats. So
yeah.
And it gave you cool dances with it too. So I don't know. It was all right.
That was Onrush in a nutshell. Team-based destruction derbies type style, racing in quotes for sure. But like Washburn said, you're going fast. You feel that boost when you do go into Onrush mode, which is cool. The different cars having cool, unique abilities was fun to change and try them. But it was missing something. It was missing that wow factor that you want.
So I assume pass on it.
If it was on Game Pass, it would probably be like a play if you had friends with
play.
you.
Yeah, it would be a pass play. Right? Pass play.
I'm almost surprised it's not on there because there are games similar, almost kind of like that are on there. I'm surprised it's not on there.
Yeah, I'm always looking to see if there's new racing games on there just to try out. All right, and then the next game that we played this week was Crossfire. Washburn, would you like to tell us a little bit about how your experience in Crossfire went?
So yeah, Mike, I think me and you might have talked, or me and one of you talked about how Warzone and Halo existing sort of ruins a lot of these games like Crossfire that are just sort of dropping and where the shooting doesn't feel quite right, and that was definitely the case here. You know, it's just lacking a certain quality or feel that you find in a Call of Duty or a Halo or a Apex / Titanfall. That, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but it wasn't that great. You run around and you, like, every kill you get a certain upgrade to your character, like offense, defense, speed, and what was the other one? Strength, so something along those lines. And sort of what the game's devolved to when we were playing was we're gonna upgrade the speed as much as possible and run around with our knives and try to get in the enemy spawn and see how long we can stay there. So it was some casual fun. There are 3 different modes. One of them I think we had more fun with than the others is the laboratory mode, where one team turns completely invisible and the other team has to sort of hunt them down. The invisible team gets to plant a bomb and the other team is on defense. So that was some dumb, goofy fun. The modern mode, which is just Call of Duty domination. That's the mode that I probably was my least favorite. That's the one where you're upgrading your abilities, and it's going for something like Call of Duty that's just not as good. And like I said earlier, it's just like modern warfare exists, and like for me to go in and play a game that just feels off or doesn't feel quite right, you know, I'm not going to last long with it. So that's kind of my biggest takeaway from it.
Yeah, I can definitely echo the sentiments of Washburn, right? I would put it more as like it's missing the je ne sais quoi is what I like to call that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have these big titles that have now set the bar so high for shooters, and we can say that for different games and different genres, but really when you look at the shooter genre, right, you have Call of Duty, Battlefield, and, you know, Halo have set the bar so high on what your movement, your gun control should feel like, and any other shooter that comes out needs to either mimic that at that same level or needs to find a way to be unique, be something different, like Washburn brought up with Titanfall, having the mechanics of the giant mechs or the cool wall running and all that kind of traversal really made that game special. But for this one, it felt like a blend. It was like trying to be on the modern side, the big domination map. It was like we're trying to be Call of Duty and Battlefield, but we're not even close to the shooting mechanics or feel of Call of Duty. And then on the Battlefield side, they're like trying to get you to go out a window to make it feel like it's Levolution or something bigger than it really is. But really, it wasn't that special of a giant map like Battlefield would provide. Then on the flip side, it has 2 modes, which is search and destroy. We've seen it in Counter-Strike. We've seen it now in Valorant. We've seen it in many other games with this one bomb. You go over there with 5 teammates and you try to plant or defuse. And I think their cool uniqueness that we did like was in the laboratory where the one planting team was invisible. It was fun, dumb shenanigans. It also did make for a semi-difficult challenge if you were the defending team, because when you are invisible, you're pretty much invisible there. That was very difficult to see from my perspective. It is a beta. Crossfire X somebody came into the chat and said Crossfire is gigantic in China, making a bunch of money over there, whatever their original game is. But this as a whole coming to console here in America, even if it's just a beta and we're judging it on that, this is going to massively flop over here, in my opinion.
Is there anything at all that sticks out? Anything
think-
they do different?
I don't want to speak over everybody, but I will say I echo Washburn's of I actually liked the cool abilities that you got as you got more kills and progressed through the thing of like, I liked the cool idea of like, I put 2 into the firing rate of my guns. So now I'm running with the vector and it's shooting even faster than you can imagine. Or I put 2 into speed and I start running super fast. There was 2 into defense that would get you a riot shield and you'd have some fun with that. Or 2 into health regeneration. I think the cool idea of like semi-leveling up or putting attribute points into a certain bar there, I think that was its uniqueness. But other than that, I don't have anything redeeming qualities-wise to this.
Is this supposed to be console exclusive, or is it supposed to come to other things as well?
I think
Is
it's
like
console
for
exclusive.
Xbox, like it's supposed to be a console exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm
Yeah.
curious
Also,
too.
Kevin. Yeah. Also, look up Kevin. I remember you guys were streaming and somebody came in and said they're working on a story mode for it.
Oh,
You
with
guys know that?
Remedy,
With
Yeah.
Remedy, yeah,
I
we
don't know
should
if that's
definitely touch
confirmed or
on
not.
that.
which is
I don't know.
weird.
I think
Why?
Maddox's face says it all there. If you're looking at Maddox's face in the center there, like we said that out loud on the stream. That doesn't sound like a good idea. Maddox,
And
did you get to
what's-
play this with us?
I did not. I like downloaded it and opened it up to see what was going on, and then I watched a little bit of your stream and a little bit of other streams, and I was like, if I'm gonna try and play like a search and destroy game, I'm going to go play Valorant right now.
Yeah.
That's just like I'm not
Mhm.
gonna waste my time trying to play
Mm-hmm.
some game that I'm not gonna stick with,
that's
and
exactly
that's not
what I
gonna
did.
feel as well.
Mhm,
I
that's
think,
exa-
Yeah.
Go for
Any
a
more
bunch, I guess.
questions? Give it to us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I saw you guys playing it. I was kind of excited to try it out just because it's something new. Soon I watched for like 5 minutes and I was like, I think I want to try some. I'd rather play something else right now. I don't want to spend an hour or so on this game.
Yeah, that's I mean, I'll just go back to my original point is just like Valorant exists, Modern Warfare exists. Like these games that are out right now that are just of such a high quality make it hard for me personally to get into something that's not as good. I mean, that's just me putting it bluntly. It's just not as good.
Yeah, it had also a very heavy push on social media. I noticed, and I'm sure
Mhm.
these guys can tell you on
Mhm.
Twitter, you would see the promoted, tweets out there, and a lot of it was for this Crossfire beta that just happened this weekend that we played. And it was like, man, I am seeing this every time I scroll. People are coming into my chat telling me, hey, you checking out this beta tomorrow? What's going on with this beta? So it had a heavy push on social media for people to check it out to the point where people, I think casual gamers were asking me, hey, what's up with this? And I felt like, I don't know, what is up with this? It doesn't seem that good after we played it,
I was watching before Mixer went down, of course. I think I was watching
Recipes.
Shroud, and they were promoting it over there.
Is Crossfire X one or like the one that was released in China on
I
PC
think
or
I
whatever?
think it was Crossfire X. I think they were promoting the
Okay.
beta over there.
So Crossfire X is published by Xbox Game Studios, so I think it is exclusive.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And also, I was looking at the original Crossfire. It just looks like Counter Strike. Like
Yeah.
the old
Yeah,
Counter Strike
that's the other
source,
thing.
and then this new version X looks like just a more better like quality to it, like higher definition, better models and stuff. So
Yeah.
I liked it. I actually did
Yeah,
like
Kevin,
it.
why don't you tell us your thoughts? You played it with us. Why don't you tell us what you thought?
It was interesting. Yeah, the spawns are broken. You can spawn camp
Oh,
like
really?
crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was the only
Yeah.
problem with it, but I didn't mind too much of it. I wouldn't mind buying it if it wasn't that expensive. I don't know, $15 maybe. I would have been fine with it. But I did like the what was it, the Search and Destroy Invisible game mode game. That was really fun. I had a lot of fun with that one more than the other ones. Cause
That was the only one that brought something new to the table. Like
Yeah.
the other two modes were just things that we've already seen done better by
Yeah.
other games. This
'Cause
was something totally new.
Yeah, because the classic mode was just pretty much Counter-Strike in a way, except you just chose your loadout. There was no aim and down sights. And the modern version was just, well, I don't know what would you call that. I guess it's a little like, yeah, like domination progression type of deal, because there's 2 capture points, and then once I don't know how we got to the C part. I don't know why we have to like leave the area. Do you guys know
I
why?
think once a certain
it's-
team got enough points,
exactly, it was a
the
certain
map
point.
evolves and it tells you everybody has to jump out a window and go cap C now.
So no matter what, it's gonna move over there then, right?
Mhm.
Guaranteed. Yep.
Okay, that's weird.
It's very similar like Battlefield with their Conquest mode, but of course much smaller scale.
Mhm.
But it is like that, capture these points, then we're going to push forward and we're going to continue on with that. That's how that went on.
I feel like it would have been better if one team got the points, it would shift to a different part of the map rather than, I guess, always shifting to the same like map no matter which team got to the amount of points they needed to. I don't know. That's my opinion. Have 2 different like C points, I guess, to mix it up a bit. That's like, I guess, my opinion on it. I don't know.
I got
Okay.
another question.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever figure out the 8 versus 8?
Oh
was-
yeah, you talking about like squad I know with 8 people, but it only lets
Yeah,
a squad
was
of 4, but it's a
Yeah, what
8
for?
8 team. I don't know. We never figured it
Mhm.
out. It was weird.
We could not squad up with more than 4 people. It was 2 squads put together to make a team of 8 is what the modern was.
I'm hoping they change that.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
So you
I mean, you
actually
you
party
have
up.
to. It's right. That's ridiculous.
yeah, that
It's
was
right.
weird. I don't get why they want to do that. It's
Because
odd.
some of the promotion I saw, they were stressing that it was 8v8.
I mean, it was AV8, just now
It's
with
just you
your
can't-
7
yeah.
different friends. Make it an 8 squad.
Yeah, that's
Was
a
that
misstep.
was classic AV8, or was that just? Yeah, it would have to be AV8, right? Classic mode.
Most likely. I didn't really pay attention to any of that.
Yeah.
I'm not a big search and destroy type guy
Mm-mm.
because that just slows me down too much. But I did like the invisibility. My final thoughts on it, like I told you guys before, no slide, no buy from Snowbike Mike.
No.
No slide, no buy.
Be able to slide.
What does that mean?
Talking of slides,
Oh,
our game of the week this week is Apex Legends. Apex Legends was created by Respawn Entertainment, who were known for the Titanfall games at the time of release. And it was released out of nowhere. No promotional material or anything. They let some streamers try out the game, and then all of a sudden, that Tuesday, 2 days later, it was out for everyone. And that was in February of 2019. And we played a lot of Apex in our day. Does anyone want to go a little bit more into like what makes Apex a little different?
Free to play, battle royale, EA published game, microtransactions. But the catch was it was a hero based battle royale. It was something different than what we had seen in the past, especially at that time, right? Like we always talk about time in such a special way of like when you were looking at that, we were playing Fortnite, PUBG, and Call of Duty Blackout mode. And Overwatch on the opposite side was like this big hero based game that came out of nowhere, really took the world by storm. And all of a sudden, now you hear this rumor, like you brought up, Manik, of like nobody knew what Respawn was making. They thought it was Titanfall 3. These influencers went and they're not allowed to say anything, but they're saying it's about to change up the Battle Royale game forever. And then it dropped a couple days later. And sure enough, it did, right? There was 8 heroes to choose from. Everybody was unique. Everybody was different. And I think it just had a different vibe than the Battle Royales we were used to with PUBG and Fortnite and Call of Duty at that time of like, man, this is cool. I get to be this unique character with these abilities and this kind of, semi-beautiful world. It reminded me of Borderlands at first, but I think it's grown and evolved, and I think we'll talk about that, the look and the aesthetic of these maps, but man, it was cool. It was different, and I really enjoyed it for that, and it got me away from Call of Duty, PUBG, and Fortnite at the time, which was what I needed.
honestly was not really playing battle royales that much. I played a little bit of PUBG and Fortnite here and there when one of my friends wanted to play, but overall I wasn't. I like didn't even. I played blackout mode like a few times, but not very often. And this game just got me super hooked into the genre as a whole and just as a game. I played this game a lot on Xbox and I've played a little bit on PC. But yeah, I mean, this game, it's a battle royale with less than 100 players, which is like, oh man, how's that going to work? It was like 60 players on a smaller map, but it doesn't ever feel like the map's too big or the map's too small. There's like places that you can land that no one else will be there. And every hero has a tactical and ultimate and a passive ability, and the variety there is pretty astounding and leads to a lot of fun gameplay, I would say.
When we first got word that Apex was coming out, that 2 days prior or whatever, the rumors coming out or whatever, and I heard they were going to have a buyback mechanic. Coming from Blackout to that, because I was playing Blackout on PlayStation, probably not too much actually. I didn't really like it. So when Apex came out and there was a buyback, like me and my friends were all excited for that. Like that was a big change they made.
I think this game is just sort of the perfect storm, at release. Fortnite is still extremely hot, and for people like me who were beginning to get not bored, but frustrated with the building mechanic and getting into those Fortnite late games where you just get built on and lose, and that's all there is. And then for this game to just sort of drop and scale it back in a way that made sense to me, where it's like, okay, it's first person, it's fast, and there's no building for me to get frustrated with. It's shooting. I just felt like it was the perfect launch, the perfect time for the perfect launch for this game.
They've definitely done some things that are different that no battle royale before it had done. Fortnite added respawning after Apex did. And they definitely have a unique way of having you respawn, but the changes that they brought just make the game feel so much better. And like, if you die, you're not necessarily out, which is a good change, I would say, for the battle royale genre as a whole.
Yeah, definitely changed up the game to what we see today. I think one of the biggest moments for me as well was we were coming hot off of a full year of PUBG with me and my crew nonstop playing, and Fortnite at the big part, but it was only a 3-person battle royale. It only did trios at the time of release. So it was like the big moment of kicking your 4th friend out of the party and jumping right in with only 3 friends. I think that was a major shakeup as well to the battle royale genre. Of like, I don't think people were ready to say goodbye to their 4th. And like Maddox said, it's only 60 people in the map in the server, and it felt different, right? It did feel like a big map, but also a faster game than what you were getting used to on PUBG and a little bit of Call of Duty and Fortnite as well.
Landing Skulltown when it was the hot drop early, like preseason before the first season even came out, would break the server. You'd be stuttering everywhere. You wouldn't even know if you were alive or dead. It was insane. They've ironed out those issues since then, thank God.
Let's talk about the revive mechanic really quick, because you guys brought that up and how that changed up the game, because that is really cool of like you coming from those games and once you're dead, you're done. Yep. Right. I like the idea of like it did bring revive, and the idea of a banner was totally different because now you got to play the game of like, am I going to go back and get your banner?
I mean, you would have to get the banner, or else if you don't get the banner, they're gone the whole game.
And I guess that's the only problem.
Yeah, and I guess we're used to it back then either way, because now, since we came back from Warzone, where we can buy our teammates no matter what, it seems kind of weird. It kind of sucks now that we're out of the game the whole time. But yeah, they brought that in, and I really liked it. I mean, yeah, it was tough, trying to if you either got to go for the banner or not, but it put a new type of toughness to the game.
I think it's an adjustment that forces you, coming from Warzone specifically, I think it's an adjustment that forces you to stay together a little bit more, to be more aware of where your teammates are on the map in relation to yourself, because we see in Warzone all the time with these, especially with these guys who are putting up like world record numbers, they're just going off and either splitting twos or just going solo in a quads match and going crazy. And it's like last night we were playing a game of Warzone and you were all down and I was far away and picked up a king contract, and that's not something you can do in Apex. In Apex, I think that mechanic where you do have to go get your guys' banners forces you to stay together a little bit more.
Yeah, if you die in the circle and you're not with your team, they're not getting your banner back. Unless they're kind of close, maybe Kevin's Octane, he can use his boost to go get you. But if you die in that circle, I don't think they're going to be getting your banner back.
One of the more interesting things with this game, like, yeah, you can use this person's ultimate or tactical ability to go and like use the Wraith portal to try and get that person's banner back without dying. And the like weird like one-off things that like present an opportunity are what makes this game like kind of special, where like, oh, I've got Mirage and he's got this new thing where all the little clones follow him around and you just launch that and they're all running around and you're grabbing someone's banner at the same time to bring it back to the respawn beacon. It creates like a different sort of feel, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, totally. I love the characters. I think when I look at Apex, right, I know me and Washburn are really on the side of like Call of Duty Warzone is definitely my favorite. That's the one I want to play all the time. But like I smile thinking about Apex because I do like that difference of like, here's the heroes, pick them, work together on finding out how they play together, right? Like Andy Cortez brought up a good one of like, you have a Bangalore and you have the Bloodhound, and like the Bangalore throws out the smoke. If the Bloodhound goes on his ultimate right there, he can see through the smoke. He's the only one to see through the smoke. Or you can be Caustic and throw out his gas, and only he can run through the gas. Lifeline can heal. And you go down the list of like, that's so cool and definitely unique in this little genre that we talk about, that is Battle Royales, of like, now instead of just being Soldier A and hoping for X, Y, and Z gun, now you can play off of each other, right? Kevin's always throwing a jump pad for me to catch up because he's boosting on Octane. I'm trying to heal him, or I think I've gone so much of Lifeline and always being the support character to now, like, you don't have to be that. You want to be aggressive? Go be Bangalore, be Gibraltar like me, where it's like, drop that cluster strike on him. Let's see what happens. I absolutely love that.
I loved it when you would be Caustic and I was Bloodhound and we'd both pop our alts and I could just see everything. I love it. It is so cool. I love it when their abilities work together. It's really good.
Yeah, I just play Pathfinder every game. That's all I play. It's Pathfinder, and I just like the fact that he's got that. The new map specifically is very vertical. World's Edge, not King's Canyon, not as much, but World's Edge is very vertical, and especially if you're dropping into these places like Skyhook or the other large city or any of these places with lots of buildings around. Having that grappling hook is good, but also his ultimate, the zipline, allows you to get really aggressive. It's got that use where if you're fighting a team that's far away, you can have a Bangalore on your team, toss the smoke at them, have the Pathfinder toss the zipline out, zipline straight into the smoke. They can't see you, and all of a sudden you're just running over squads. And I think just all those abilities really working together is something pretty special.
Yeah, it's a dope combo as well. And then, of course, they also elevated really the loot system in my mind, right? When we were coming off of Fortnite where it was a set, hey, here's the gun, but here's the different tiers and colors. There's no more attachments like you had to put up with PUBG and Blackout mode. I think they did a really cool job in Apex and especially Respawn making this of like, hey, how do we really fine-tune that and just like make it mainstream of like, if this is a better attachment, you're going to put it on the gun and it will pop off the old one and you don't have to go into your menu. Or, hey, here's the set amount of guns we have. The attachment works for them. There's minimal ammo. So it's not like, hey, Bone Jangles, you got 7.62, 5.56, you got 9mm. It's like, no, there's just
heavy
basic ammos. Let's just run through this. I think that's one as well. You got to give a lot of credit to them of like finding a way to just mainline that of let's get out of the menus because we were so used to that in PUBG especially, and let's get this turning a little bit faster. I really love that.
Yeah, not only
Play.
does the ammo have name types, but they're also color coordinated too.
Mm-hmm.
That's not like that in Call of Duty, is it? It's just
Um,
LMG
oh
ammo,
yeah, it's just
Mhm.
no colors.
it's just a different shape on the ground.
Yeah, different shape. Yep.
Yeah, so if you don't know what ammo type it is, you can say, "Hey, I need red ammo. I need light green ammo. I need blue ammo."
Alec, what were you gonna say?
With the gameplay and the speed of the characters, while it doesn't feel if you're playing Call of Duty right before it, it doesn't feel as fast, I would say. But today, when I only hopped into Apex, it felt like quick, and the gameplay in general is quick. You can't have that time that where in PUBG you do have that time where you're like, oh, let me look through all this stuff because someone might not be around for like miles, essentially, and in Apex, if another team here is shooting over there, they're going that way.
Yeah, there's no doubt that when this game first came out, it was the fastest battle royale on the market at that time. It was much faster than Fortnite, much faster than PUBG and Call of Duty because of the slide, the traversal, like Washburn touched on with certain characters, the redeploy in some of the areas that you could go up these balloons and then sky shoot over to the opposite side of the map. There was a lot of fast-paced movement that really changed up the game, and it felt cool coming off of what you knew with Titanfall 1 and 2. And like, of course, I dreamt of wall running and being that soldier again, like I used to love in Titanfall. But now it's like, hey, there's a sweet slide mechanic here. You can, climb up and kind of vertically mantle a lot of these different buildings that you would see around the map. And if you really need to get out of there, take a redeploy balloon, get up there, and just fly across the map. I thought that was really cool.
Did we talk about the ping? They introduced the ping. They were the first ones to do the
It's
ping
probably
system.
the largest impact thing out of any of their innovations in that game.
The ping system.
It's got to be ping and respawn are the two biggest ones. Got to be,
Yeah.
right? It's got to be those two.
In the slide.
In the slide, yeah, probably those three is right.
The first two you can copy. The third one apparently you cannot copy. You cannot copy the slide. It's always the best one.
Yeah, the only game to even come close to it is Borderlands 3, and still it's not there. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not perfect. Yeah.
yeah, that Apex slide is something, and it adds such a weird sort of skill gap that's you can't really notice. And if you go look at what Respawn did with Titanfall and movement in that game, being able to bring that over to Apex with that slide specifically is something just crazy. I mean, people can really fly across the map with that thing if they know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally. Back on that ping system, though, I mean, that ping system changed the game because I think the coolest one is interacting with your teammates with the ping of like, let's go there. Or if you double tap it, you can be like, hey, somebody's over there. And I think we'll touch on how it's evolved ever since then with other games that I like a little bit more. But the ping being on the right bumper or R1 for you on the PlayStation, like that felt smooth. It felt easy to be like, hey, somebody's over there, like get over there. And I think it really helped not only the team, but if you were playing solo, squatting up with randoms who maybe you didn't want to have a microphone talk with them, or maybe you didn't have a mic, you could get along. I literally just played a game as we were all prepping for this, where it was me and FaZe Monkey 6969, and I pinged him all over the map, and he was in my backpack running around with me. And it's like, that is so cool that a simple system like a ping can change the game so much to make it more cohesive, more fun, and you feel unified of like, this kid says, yeah, we're going here. I can double tap and be like, I'll go there with you. Let's go, or pinging weapons is also awesome. They did.
If it wasn't for that ping system, I wouldn't have put as many hours into that game as I do with random players. I do play it a lot with random, like I'll just join random squads. If it wasn't for that ping system, communication system, I probably would not be able to do that. It's a lot harder to do in like PUBG when you're not communicating.
Yeah, I'd say that's the most brilliant feature that's in the game is that ping system. It's sort of outrageous how good it is, and putting it on the shoulder button was just such a great idea.
Yeah, I can be aiming and shooting and still pinging people while I'm aiming and shooting.
Yeah, Warzone's got to figure that out. But also at the same time, that live ping, way better. Live pings are dope.
Yeah, I would say like you mentioned that it's evolved from Apex from other games. I mean, I don't think anyone's come close to it. I feel like the ping on Apex is way better than any other pings that they have in other games. Like it's better than Warzone. I prefer better than Fortnite. Better than I don't know what else has a ping system that we played recently. Ring Elysium, I guess, but yeah.
I'll agree with you, Kevin. I think it is the best, but I'm getting at the live ping. They need to find a way to incorporate that live ping because it does so well of like, here he is, instead of like, here's the area he's in. I like that a lot more.
I don't like the live ping
overpinging.
in a way. Because I feel like, I don't know. In a way, I feel like it's kind of cheating because you can live ping him and he can go down behind a building and it still tracks him. Like, I don't really get
in
how
Warzone. It will transition to like just a still red ping after a handful of seconds.
Yeah.
But I do understand what you're saying, Kevin. Where like if you live ping a dude and he runs behind a fence, like you still see that live ping for a few seconds there, even though you might not necessarily have sight on the person, which is, anyone can feel how they feel about it. But I definitely get what you're saying.
I feel like I was surprised when we first saw that in Warzone. I was like, wow, it's tracking him from a bit. I wonder how long they'll track him. And then, it hit like the red square that stays there. So it gives you that generator. But yeah, I'm surprised they gave us that for Warzone. I don't know. It just seems odd. If anything, I would expect that to be an Apex for some reason, like for someone's ability.
It just evolves into everybody spamming the ping when they see a person. It's just you just hear enemy
here, enemy
here. Yeah, 1,000 red live live pings on the screen.
It would
especially
be way
when
more,
you're down.
It would be really useful in Apex because Apex doesn't have UAVs. It doesn't have
That's true, yeah.
heartbeat sensors. It doesn't have tag grenades or anything like that. So I feel like a live ping in Apex would actually be a lot more useful.
It does have better
that's
audio.
That's Crypto's thing, isn't it?
That's true.
With his
that's
drone.
True. That is true. Yeah.
It is kind of a live ping in that scenario.
Yeah, that's true.
And Apex just has better footstep audio too. I mean,
that's true.
Surround sound audio, you're able to
I can hear these guys
and identify where people are, whether they're above you or below you.
Yeah.
Warzone doesn't necessarily have.
I'm also going to bring up that I feel like I can win a game with just a ping system in Apex than Warzone. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Because I feel like, like I said before, the ping system in Apex is way better. So I feel like I can do like what Mike said, the duos game he won. It was just all ping. I don't know if I can do that in Warzone if I did duos with a random.
No, I don't think you could.
No, not with just pings alone. I think there is a difference though. Is like I think I would feel more confident being able to gun down a team and maybe carry somebody in Warzone, but in Apex, I feel like I could communicate with you better, far better to get a team cohesive win there for sure. But I feel like in shooting and in team fights, if it was a 2-on-1 situation in Apex, I don't think I'm winning that as opposed to a 2-on-1 situation in Call of Duty where I do feel confident that I could win that. And maybe it's the guns, maybe it is my ability, but I feel like whenever I'm in Apex, whether there's not enough bullets in the clip or maybe, the RNG of me not having a good enough gun or certain guns in certain situations, I feel like that 2-on-1 situation is not as winnable as it is in Call of Duty. But the ping system, I agree, Kevin. I think I could ping to win more than Call of Duty for sure.
No, for sure.
Feeling that you can win easier in Call of Duty just comes from the amount of time it takes to kill a person.
Exactly.
And the fact that you could have a white shield and the other team could have a white shield and a purple shield, and then you're at like a significant disadvantage. But their focus on putting the ping on the right bumper, I think, makes a huge difference in the overall use of it. And with it being on the D-pad, I think in Warzone and in Fortnite, it's just not as I think it's not as big of a focus. Sorry.
It's all right. I know it's hard to talk about. I know we get
it is hard.
For me, Warzone ping is on left bumper.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can change it. I know that in Warzone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You can change it in Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
You do that. I did not know that.
In Fortnite, it's on
left D-pad or something like that. Yeah.
The thing with
Fortnite ping is tough. Well, that's not
Yeah.
Not to get into that, but
So the thing with changing it on Warzone, I think you change it out for the equipment thing, right, Bone Jangles?
Yeah, he's changing it out for his secondary. Washburn, if
Yep.
he's putting it on the left bumper, he's changing it out for his tactical, is what they would call that, grenade and or whatever pack you want to call that.
Mhm.
Yep. And then to
Yeah.
switch between lethal and tactical, you just press up on the D-pad.
Yep. So that's tough.
I
I
think
like
my
that.
controller was set to that.
Let's
might try
talk
it
about
out.
the maps really quick, because I think when you first drop into the map, way back in the day, all the way to today, they had a lot of fun points of interest. They had a really cool, unique, and different map, even though the first one felt a little more deserty. That's why I draw the comparison to Borderlands. I think they've made great strides in that, and I really love the two maps that they've had, all the changes that they've had. Respawn has really knocked out the park of like constantly evolving that map, changing it up for better or for worse, if you like some areas or not. But there's been some really cool additions that I love on both the maps, Kings Canyon and World's Edge.
They also do a good job of like storytelling around the map changes and being like, oh, the dinosaurs stomped through here, and like crypto knocked over the tower and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. And then like town takeovers are kind of cool ideas where it just incorporates one of the abilities of the person. So like the jump pads at Octane spot and Wraith's portal where you shoot down through into the basement automatically, and then Crypto's new spot that for this season, you go in the map room and it like tells you where other teams are. It's kind of a cool way to incorporate the ultimates and change the map up a little bit as well.
Yeah, when Mirage wanted a party, they added a party bus.
Yeah, there you go.
Baby.
The party barge.
Party
Yeah.
barge, baby.
Yeah, it's been pretty interesting of like, this is the only battle royale that I felt, and I know Fortnite has done their thing with it, but like these guys have really committed to putting lore into
Mhm.
this battle royale, right? You see these killer cinematics that they release before the seasons and throughout. They do map changes because of what they want to tell the story wise. And I think that's really unique and different. I don't think we've truly seen that to that capacity, which I love. I know Fortnite is doing their own thing. We'll talk about that eventually. But right now in Apex, that is cool that they've added so much lore. They've made you feel for the characters. There's certain dynamics amongst the characters with those cinematics. I think that's really awesome as well.
Yeah, that's what draws me towards Apex more is the cinematics that they make. It's the same reason I'm into like Overwatch and everything. They put out amazing short story, short film type things for a lot of times new characters coming out or something. I think that's really cool.
Another
Yeah.
general thing we should touch on is the fact with all these characters with special powers and the variety of guns, with guns being added almost every season now, they've kind of scaled back on the guns. But they do a lot of changes to make it feel like no certain character is at a disadvantage. So like the fact that Gibraltar takes more damage because he's a bigger character model and it's easier to hit. And the fact that Wraith takes, or I guess Gibraltar takes less damage and Wraith takes more damage. And all of those tiny little things and like listening to the community feedback is kind of impressive. And they also just do things where they're like, oh, here's a new attachment for this gun, and it changes the way the gun plays entirely.
Yeah, I think going back to my point way earlier, talking about games that do shooting right. For Call of Duty to have existed for so long and Halo to be what it is, I remember Titanfall 1 coming out and being just so wowed by the fact that Respawn, this developer, out of nowhere, had made something that felt so good to play, and did it again with Titanfall 2 and did it again with Apex. And I think that's something that makes this game one of the big three, as Mike would put it, and something that I would like to jump back into, from time to time and continue to play. It's not like Crossfire, like we talked about earlier, where I'm never going to go back to that because there's nothing as good. Apex is that bar, right? It's right there with Call of Duty. It's right there with Halo. It's it's that respawn Titanfall shooting that I love so much in a battle royale, and all the guns, like the longbow or the R301 or what have you, the Havoc, they all feel so good to shoot, right? So that's just sort of my big takeaway with the weapons in the game.
Yeah, and for me, they all feel unique and different to shoot. I know every gun in every game is truly different, right? But in Call of Duty, I feel like if I grab the GRA or the M4, if I point it straight, it's going to laser beam you, as opposed to like when I'm grabbing the Spitfire and it takes just a couple moments to start up and then it just kicks, or the Havoc where it starts to turn and then fire off super fast, or the one gun where it, has to cool down out of the blue. And then as well, I feel like with the sniper rifles, maybe it's the visual, maybe it is that we are a little bit closer, but like the Scout and the longbow, it's like you can visually see that bullet drop, right? Like you can see it going, and then it's a hard drop in front of it. It's like, wow, that's really impressive. And, maybe I don't use the same guns in certain games to see that change, but like for Apex, it made it prevalent to me of like, you can feel it, you can see it, and you can definitely tell the differences in each and every one of these guns and what they're going to do at a certain moment here.
Yeah, when you would get the Kraber from the crate, like when it was first in the loadout drop, you definitely noticed the bullet drop with that, because the bullet on that thing when you shoot it was huge, so you could see like right where you were shooting. It was really awesome.
And you can hear the difference. You know when there's a Kraber on the map, which is wild, because you're like, oh, that's the Kraber noise.
Yeah.
That's a Kraber noise. Watch out.
I think something super impressive is that an energy weapon feels like an energy weapon, right? Like if you're running around with the Havoc, that's a very distinct feel. If you switch to the R301 or the R99, a light ammo weapon, that's a totally different feel, right? Same thing with the Havoc or the Flatline. If they feel heavier, right? And going into those different sort of weapon families, and having each one have its own distinct signature feel is just, it's so impressive. It's just such an impressive thing.
Yeah, and they have a lot of really cool skins for a lot of the guns. They're a little harder to get unless you like pay for them, or you have to get them randomly from a crate or whatever. But I've always loved the skins that came with most of the guns. Can't really get that in Call of Duty.
The characters.
Yeah. Before we jump into the customization, just one last thing on the guns as well. It's like Maddox was bringing up, is like the attachments that they've added, not only just attachments, but like the way they changed the gun as well. Like the double tap, adding the double tap to the shotgun and the G7 Scout, like changed the game for me. Or the skull piercer on certain weapons, where like Kevin and I used to shoutcast Apex tournaments back in the day, and it brings a smile to my think of like kids would just run around with the wingman, and it was like 45, no matter what, to your body or head, and he was going to put you down in like 4 to 5 shots. And it was awesome to watch these different attachments being used, what you would put on the turbocharger. I know Kevin loves to put on, but like I do like the additions of like changing up these guns that and love with like these small subtle attachments that you could put on. You don't have to put on, but it definitely elevates the gun, right, Kevin?
Definitely, yeah. I feel like from when we used to do the tournaments, like these guys would use these attachments in a whole different level from when we used to use it. And I was like, man, I need to learn how to do these type of moves with these guns, because I would never pick up a wingman with that skull piercer, because I'm just not that accurate. So
yeah, it was nuts. They were usually, a lot of the PC players were really good with the wingman.
Yeah.
Like really good. That's kind of what the way it is with Destiny. Like those hand cannon type guns seem way accurate on PC.
It's that beefy, heavy pistol, It's and it feels so much different than the light ammo pistol. It's just those subtle changes based on ammo type, and it's just so crazy to me how like you can have 2 pistols feel as different as those do.
But nothing sucks more than dropping into Skulltown back in the day and only getting to Mozambique. They beat you.
Dude, in Titanfall, that gun was so powerful that they eventually had to rework the entire class system, because you could run around with the Mozambique as your secondary. And people were just running around the Titanfall maps, just one-shotting people over and over and over. And I think they've nerfed it a little bit in Apex, but it's still. I love the Mozambique. Like when
I
we
do
were
too.
playing earlier
I like
today, Maddock and Kevin were dropping into that shotgun snipers mode and going in with that Mozambique. It's like, oh, this thing's got range. It feels like a shotgun,
Yeah, it was weird.
because it is one, and it's just it's crazy to me, dude. It's just like this super powerful, tiny little thing that you're holding. That's something very unique.
I like it, especially if you can get a
Attachment.
purple choke like right off the bat with that thing. I like it a lot. And plus, I think it was Blessing a long time ago. He was talking about it, how Mozambique means. I forgot what he said it means, but he pretty much said the developers were saying shoot for the person's neck because you're going to put 2 into their neck and 1 in their head, and that's how you do the most damage. So
Wow.
I've been trying that method out, and I like the Mozambique now.
Where was this tip? Like a long time ago.
Season
Bone
one.
Jangles? Jeez, like,
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, Blessing. I think it was when he was on Kind of
Jumpmaster.
Funny Games Daily.
Mm. But
Maybe it was Jumpmaster Maddock.
Yeah,
before we move on, R301, God weapon,
best gun.
best
That's
gun.
a gun,
good
hands
Best
down,
gun.
bro. You get that gun, you're about to pop off with somebody.
You can laser beam people with that one for sure, dude.
That's my
the best
favorite.
part.
What's everybody's
you-
loadout?
The cool loadouts. Yeah, it's like the cool
Yeah.
guns you can run with and change every time. Because I know I personally will either run full light weapons of a R301, R99, or G7 Scouts if I feel like I can take shots, even though I'm very bad at aiming. Or I just grab the Spitfire and just spray and pray all over people. But those are the guns I stick with. Those are the only guns I want to grab on the battlefield.
I like the flatline. I
The
like
flatline's good.
that heavy automatic assault
Mhm.
rifle, and I feel like it's the one for me. And then I'll try to find a longbow, or if not a longbow, a G7 or something where I can extend the range.
When I'm playing bad, my go-to loadout is flatline and R301. If I'm playing well and I feel like I'm hitting my shots, I'll pick up a sentinel or a longbow to go along with the R301. But I prefer the 3-time scope over pretty much every scope for the sniper rifles because there's something about I'd hit more shots that way.
Mm.
For the longest time, I was going Devotion. As long as I had a turbocharger, though. If I could not find a turbocharger, I was picking something else. But yeah, usually Devotion, or then I would go G7 and the flatline fully kitted.
I think the energy weapons are, if you do go and get those, the hops or the turbochargers, they can be pretty deadly.
Turbocharger's gone though.
Is it?
Yeah. it's gone.
Well, technically the Devotion's now just turbocharged.
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
a crate
It's just
weapon.
built into it. Yeah.
Is that a crate weapon? I thought the Havoc was a crate weapon.
No, the Havoc's still like a ground loot weapon.
Okay. My loadout, what was it? Back in the day, it changed so much, but it was always R301 and Spitfire. When I had that Spitfire back in the day, man, I would rip people into 2 so fast. But then I think they nerfed it, and I had to switch, and I went back to using the flatline. And then after that, if I do find that select fire, I would use that Prowler. That Prowler's nasty. with
Prowler,
select
cool.
fire.
Yeah.
Oh,
with that,
yeah.
That
full
one's
auto,
always
it's
been
cool.
good with the select fire, but it's always so hard to find a select fire.
Yeah, that's why I was like, if I find that and the Prowler, I'm like, I'm sticking with this then. That's my go-to right
Mm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
But the R301
The
was always there.
OG loadout was like R99 Wingman because it was just like both those guns when it originally came out were overpowered and they've since been nerfed quite a bit, but originally that was the move.
R301,
Yeah.
always there. God tier.
Flatline with an extended mag is that's the
Big
one
boys,
I want.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, totally. And then on top of that, my cool ladybug skin, like Bone Jangles brought up before we jumped into that one, is like the customization is really awesome. And I love picking up other people's guns, seeing what guns
what they
they
got.
have, like their cool skins, their cool charms that they've now added. I love that. And also at the same time, I hate that because then I'd be stuck with like your Nutcracker G7 Scout when I just want my cool Dragon's Breath one on it.
And I switch it now.
You can switch.
I know, but like back in the day, I just
Back in the
remembered
day,
like
yeah.
being mad that I had to pick up this kid's Nutcracker gun when all I wanted was the sick, Dragon's Breath that I had on mine.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everybody had the Nutcracker one because it was an event reward.
Yeah.
So if you played like 2 matches, you'd get it. So everybody would have it.
I hate the skins that make like there's something sticking out
bigger.
of something sticking out of the weapon, like horns or something like that.
Yeah.
I just hate that type of skins. Like it feels like it makes my aim off for some reason. I don't know why. There's too much to see, I guess.
Yeah, there's
It's like
some
that-
of them that are kind of big. They almost take away a little bit of your peripheral.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're like looking
Like
at the right a
the-
little bit, there might be a horn in your way.
Yeah.
The longbow one has like a huge skull like right in your face.
Yeah,
and
I
down
hate
sights.
that. I always go like the plain skin, which is like nothing sticking out. It's just just
There's
too much
some
new paint job.
There's still cool ones that are like
Yeah,
sleek,
yeah.
but-
Some are pretty cool, but I always
Like I think I have the Halloween event R301 that's got like glow in the dark looking skeleton on it, and it doesn't interfere with like your aim down sights at all, which is nice.
Yeah, they have like reactive camos. It's pretty much what they call them. They're like animated. I wish Call of Duty. I wish Warzone would do that.
That'd be
like
cool.
Blackout. Yeah,
Yeah, like Blackout had those reactive camos like that.
those were cool.
Yeah, there's some really cool character customizations as well. And then, of course, the heirloom items as well. When we first started, remember how like it was like, oh man, you got to open like 1 billion packs and you could get like Ray's special sword. And you're like, what?
I got
And
mine
you would
pretty
never
easily
find
too.
that.
I got mine
Yeah,
real
yeah.
quick.
One kid would get it like after opening 2 packs. You would never see it, never get it. And I
still don't
love
have
that
one.
they added that. Yeah. Well, now you can actually buy them, but you have to have some sort of heirloom points. I try to look at it today,
Yeah.
and it's like, I don't have any of these points.
Heirloom
It was
You
always
can also get
shards.
them in crates randomly.
charge. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can get them randomly. Remember Shroud in the first season, like bought every single pack or bought like a bunch of loot ticks to the point where he just got every single item. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you have to buy like 500 packs or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or
that was a
unlock
really cool
500.
system because you could never get duplicates, is what it was. So it's like no matter what, you were gonna get 3 items you've never had, and like somebody did the math with them of like, here's how much you have to spend. Like man, I said to get 500 packs, and he just unlocked every one. I thought that was always cool because when Predator, when we recently played Predator, you can just get duplicates, and sure they give you points for it, but like at the same time, like you don't want duplicates. Once I get the thing, like we're on to the next one, please. I think Apex did a really good job, especially with the EA title behind it, right? And how much people gave them flack before this with the packs that we would see in EA, NHL, and Madden. This was a big one of like, you can't mess this up. And I think they did a good job of like, yes, it is microtransactions. They're all cosmetics, but you're not going to get duplicates where you're like, sweet, that's awesome.
Rocket League, there you would always get a lot of duplicates in Rocket League for their looting system, and for a while you couldn't even do anything with them. You could, I think, after so many weeks, you could trade them with a friend, but I was getting multiples of the same items a lot, and it was kind of frustrating. So I'm definitely glad Apex changed that.
Heirloom items, the coolest thing is every single one has like this very unique animation that goes along with it that you can just like trigger as you're like running along. And they're all so intricate and cool. Like the Octane knife, the boxing gloves for Pathfinder. It's very cool.
The drumsticks for the lifeline.
Yeah.
Those are cool. Yeah. Those are really cool items to put in and like make them so special, especially on top of I would say a rich customization thing, right? We're talking player banners, intro poses. We're talking
voice lines.
Voice lines. You can change the loading screen song and video of it. You can change characters, gun skins, put a gun charm on. There's so much customization in this game that when you really, peel it back, that's a lot to get lost in if you really wanted to.
For a very long time.
I like it. It makes me feel like I'm playing my game in a way.
Right.
Seeing my own loading screen, my own music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
And the music is filled with bangers.
Yeah.
Oh man, the holiday song, banger.
Oh, the holiday
Banger.
song,
banger.
The
I will
new-
say one. Tell him, Kevin.
I was like, the newest song right now for Lost Treasure, I think it's called. It sounds a lot like a Star Wars song in a way. I don't know if you guys ever noticed it. If you listen to it, it sounds like Star Wars-esque for some reason.
I have my song set to random, so I might have heard it. I'm not really sure.
Kevin, like you said, it's my game, so I just play the holiday banger all day long.
Yeah, see, you can do that. It's not even Christmas, dude. We're still 6 months away.
I'm still playing it, baby. I will say the store does leave much to be desired. I think they kind of took from what they saw at Fortnite, where it was the daily and weekly items that you could buy, right? And that's cool enough. But I think where we've progressed now with like, I prefer Call of Duty, where it's here's just a bunch of stuff, buy what you want, but you can buy items individually, which I think is cool on the flip side with Apex. Of like, if you look at the character you like Kevin said, this is my game. I'm a Lifeline main. I go through Lifeline and I pick the voice clips. I pick the skin. I pick the load-in screen, and you can buy them one by one. I think that's a big positive, but I'm actually past the point of the Fortnite is your daily, weekly, you're stuck with these things. I like Call of Duty right now where it's, 30 things, and sure, they do change over time, but at least I feel like they're there all the time. I can buy them at any time. I don't like being held back from buying things.
The thing about Call of Duty that makes me angry is that it's attached to like certain attachments. So like in Apex, you have the gun skin, it's on the gun. In Call of Duty, it's like, oh, I decided to switch the barrel. Now my barrel is not white anymore, or whatever color or whatever pattern it had on it, which is kind of a bummer to me. And I do feel like the packs in Call of Duty, if they sold some of the things individually, like just the logo or just the emblem or just the gun skin, they would make more money. Like I would buy way more stuff if it wasn't like, oh, you need all these things and it costs $24.
Exactly.
If it was like, oh, I want this one thing and it costs $5, I would do it like way more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of positives over here for Apex. I love the talk, dude. I like the energy that we're having. I like smiling thinking about Apex because we have shared so much time in there. And, I know we compare it to Call of Duty a lot because that is, one of my big threes that we'll get into later on in each and every week. But it's fun to go back and forth with these top dogs and see what people do good, what people don't do well, what it's like. And it is very interesting of when Apex came out, it is very team driven with the ping system, but with a jump master. When you jump out of the plane and one person is really in charge of pulling you out of the plane. Sure, you can break free, but like it feels so team oriented with that. But it's odd. I like to contrast both of these ones. It's like there's a jump master in Apex where you feel like you're team driven, but then to leave the game, to restart the game, it's everybody has to get into it, as opposed to Call of Duty where it's like one person starts everything and leaves everything, but we all jump at different times. It's pretty weird. It's like there's similarities and then there's differences on the team and single player aspect of those two options.
Mm-hmm.
That one person can drop, because like if someone's like getting more water or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like they're gonna be with the team still at least.
Yeah, I think it's just different. Of like, I think of the jump master, but then I think we all have to leave separately. I like Call of Duty, the easy access of like, I'm in control. I'll leave the game for us. You don't have to worry about that. I'll start the game for us. Do your thing, as opposed to like Apex. It's like, hey, Washburn, you're still sitting at the menu screen. Oh, my bad, bro. It's like, hey, Kevin, press Y. Let's start the game. Oh, yeah, my bad, bro. Like
I mean,
I like one person in control. Let's get it going. But it's odd that then when we get into jumping, there's a jump master, but there's no jump master in Call of Duty. That's pretty interesting.
Though. They're like someone is assigned like the leadership position in the plane in Call of Duty, but it doesn't do anything.
Yes,
it just gives them a star on their ping system.
Get the star. Yeah, exactly.
And then it can also like you can pass the leadership, and I'm like, passing the leadership doesn't do anything.
Oh, Kevin loves doing pass the leadership. Don't ever play with Kevin; he'll pass that stuff on.
But he means from Warzone though. On Warzone,
Warzone.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Kevin likes to do jump master on me all the time. Oh,
I
don't want to pick Mike, and they'll do it at the last moment. Then he'll blame me for a bad jump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all your fault. Just saying. But I'm gonna say I do like at the main menu we all have to press Y to start up to get ready to start the game because I'm in Warzone. Sometimes I'm messing with my class, and then you just start the game, and then it just kicks me out of my class editing thing. So I do like everyone agreeing to start the game when they're ready instead of the later just starts it whenever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I
like. You
also
are the silent assassin, Kevin. So it's like I don't know that you were in the loadouts. That's my bad. That's my bad.
Yeah, I know. It happens a lot.
I like that. Is there anything else cool to talk about, Maddock? I mean, you're my jump master here. Are we missing anything? We've had a really good talk about this game. I know we're all overly positive about it because it is so much fun, but like, what else is there to break down? Anything that sticks out to anyone?
The characters. We haven't even talked about that.
We talked about the characters a little bit. I mean, we didn't talk about specific characters necessarily, but the fact that everyone.
I was going to bring up,
Go ahead,
like,
Kevin.
what's your favorite character to run with?
Yeah, I mean,
And what do you choose that
let's-
character over anyone else?
Let's start it up. There started with 8 champions, and now there's 13. We've seen the evolution. We've seen backstories. We've seen cool cinematics, and each one is totally unique, totally different. I'll kick it off. For me personally, I started with Lifeline because I always see myself as a support role player. I like healing the team. I like calling in the care packages. That was always my role in the team because I've always played with Kevin, right? Kevin is my carry. Kevin is my guy that will get us all the kills. So I need to support him. But as I've grown, I think, especially when you limit yourself to a support role and you see how cool others are, you want to do that, right? So I wanted to be Gibraltar, which is a support and damage, right? He has the shield that can do, but at the same time, he can huck the barrage to come down. I love that. I played a little bit of Caustic. I don't know. He just doesn't have the shield like Gibraltar, and the toxic gas isn't quite like the barrage. So I'm like up and down on him. But those are really my 3 that I've ever played and I ever stick to. I've tried each and every one at least once, but nothing stuck to me besides those big 3.
You.
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about it earlier, but Pathfinder is just my go-to every time. It's
Fair enough.
Being able to whip out that grappling hook, jump to the left, like curve around a rock, land on a hill on the opposite side, slide down, jump off the bottom of that hill, and just fly across, these massive distances. It's just a mobility thing, and then the addition of the zip line not only as like an escape or traversal mechanism, but during combat, going at somebody and sort of catching them off guard is that for me is just the way to go. I do like if Pathfinder gets picked, I'll play Bangalore because the smoke grenade is just ridiculous. The airstrike is pretty cool. Or Lifeline because, like Mike said, just that healing drone is something that comes in handy a lot of the time.
I started out with Bloodhound a lot because I liked the fact that you could see the footprints. And then I transitioned more to Lifeline or Pathfinder. I kind of stopped playing Pathfinder because of the changes that they've made with like he gets hit a little bit easier now and his cooldown on his grapple is a lot longer. Mm-hmm. And I've been really into Loba these past few days. I like her little teleport move a lot and the ability to just the fact that you can throw down your little staff and search all the whole area and be like, oh, hey, look, an R301. Let me take that from whoever was going to pick that up. It's just great.
Yeah, the black market is really cool. It's a different mechanic. It's interesting. You can only pick up 2, but it's understandable, 2 items out of that. But it is a fun one, and I love seeing you throw the bracelet into the Wonder Woman, like cross on that when she lands is pretty dope looking as well. And I can vibe with Washburn. I can see him. I'm surprised that Washburn did not bring up Bloodhound because when we play Call of Duty, he has the tracker sense on, and he's always like, Mike, there's his footsteps. He's over here, Mike. I'm like, heck yeah, Washburn. Like, sniff this dude out. Let's get him. I'm surprised when Maddock brought that up. I'm like, man, that's weird that Washburn wouldn't do that. But on the flip side, like, Pathfinder is actually kind of similar to how we play Call of Duty with the recons of you can hack in, get that circle next to. It's like, oh, we do a little bit of that. That's kind of cool.
I think the difference for me there is and we haven't really mentioned the audio in this game in Apex just being on another level, when we're talking about footsteps compared to Warzone. With Apex, if you're playing with headphones, like I said earlier, you can identify where a person is in relation to you, if they're above or below you, left or right. Whereas Warzone, you sort of just hear the patterns of a footstep and somebody's in your general vicinity, versus Apex where you do have that directional audio. So tracker in Warzone is a totally different thing than tracker in Apex for me personally.
Totally.
Hey.
That's interesting.
Apex tracker, way better, way better tracking than Apex.
Yeah, because it tells you
Tony.
the time, right, and everything on it.
Tells you the time. Footsteps last
True, I
longer.
forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, we're talking about our favorite characters. What's your favorite characters to play as in Apex?
Bloodhound.
That's
And
it.
then it's probably Bloodhound. If I don't get Bloodhound, I usually go Bangalore.
Okay.
And
good.
Mirage. I like them all. They're
Lot of
all good.
similarities
They're all so good. I like
Kevin,
Mirage a lot too.
why don't you wow me, Kevin? Because I'm not hearing any Watsons. I'm not hearing any,
So-
there's a couple characters here. I'm
Watson
not
outta
hearing
here.
any right now, you know?
If you notice me and who I play, it's always like solo player type of characters because Mirage doesn't really help you guys out. That's who I played at first. He just clones himself and or does a decoy and that's it. And I don't know. I just liked him because I just liked his attitude, so I just stuck with him. I like his voice lines, which just makes me crack me up all the time. And then what was it when Octane came out? I switched to him just because I was like, oh, finally, I'm Mexican, dude. I've been wanting a Mexican like something around these games because what the heck? There's no Mexican love or like Hispanic love, Latino love, So I liked him and I liked his moves because he just he's quick. He uses that stim, and he has that jump pad. And then like that really doesn't really help you guys out too much. I don't know. Do you guys think the jump pad helps you out?
I think jump pad is clutch.
I think it saves some time. I think it can get us out of sticky situations and also allows me to catch up to you because you got to remember, like, we're all not playing Octane. So, like, we are technically 5 to 10 steps behind you at all times. So we're trying to play catch up, especially with your solo style play. So, yeah, when you leave that down for one of us, I think it helps out a lot. At least gets us closer.
Yeah. I never knew if it helped or not help you guys out. I don't know because I usually don't deploy it as much because it seems like we don't need it as much too. It's like rare when we need it. Like when it's like you said, when you're falling behind Mike, I'll throw it down and be like, here, Mike, just get closer to us.
Try to catch up. Yeah, exactly.
And then it's between Octane and Watson. Sometimes I switch to. I don't know why I like Watson. I guess I like her. Her ultimate to regenerate shields.
Yes,
And
then,
also be a trophy system.
Yeah, it's a trophy system too. I like that. And the fences are all right, I guess. It kind of gives you away a lot because you get to see those electric fences from like a mile away, but they're good to like
to a certain play style.
Yeah, they're good for certain like moments. Like if we have to like if I do deploy the shield generator thing, I can deploy that in case we need time to shield up. But yeah, those are like 3 go-tos. I think I dabble a bit with Revenant, but he's not my main. I don't have that kink for him.
I like his mobility.
To robots.
Yeah, robots. Not my kink right now. Yeah, his mobility. I think he climbs walls faster, right?
Yes. Yeah. And
a little further up. Yeah.
Yep.
So no crypto here.
I've never played Crypto. I don't think I've played Crypto. I don't think I've played Crypto, Watson, or the newest one, whatever her name. I think it's Loba. Is that her name?
Yeah.
That's because I don't have her unlocked yet, but I almost have enough points already.
I mean,
Crypto.
After playing all week, I almost already have enough points.
I said the game makes it pretty easy to unlock some of these characters if you play a lot because they give you those what is it called, legend points that are used for nothing else but to unlock these characters. Like
I've never paid to unlock a character. I've always had the points to use it.
Yeah,
or to unlock them.
I think I have like almost 100,000 or 200,000 of those points, just because we don't use it for anything else. So,
and then also talking about characters and the lore that Maddock brought up. Do you remember that character that they teased and then Revenant just straight up stabbed and killed? And like we all thought this guy was coming. He had his own little cutout in one of the train stations, and he's just straight up not in the game. That was pretty wild, right?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, I wonder if they will bring him back though.
What was his name?
Like maybe he's reanimated as a robot because of Revenant or something like that. I don't know.
What was that guy?
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. His name was Forge.
Forge. Yeah.
Forge. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you could go to that spot on the map of the set that he was killed on, and his death box was there and everything.
Yeah, remember that? You can pick up his tags. That's right. Yeah. I want to touch on one thing. There's 2 things I really want us to hit on before we end anything, if we do. One is the knockback shields. I think that was a really cool addition as well. Of like when you play Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty, it was like I'm gonna, a lot of people was like I'm gonna thirst you to death, and we see that a lot in the Warzone now. Even though it does have self revive, but like that knockback shield is very interesting. There's a couple mechanics that in play, right? You can do different couple of levels there. It does take some time to destroy it, so you really have to judge: are you going to waste a clip to a clip and a half to burn through this guy's knockback shield to try to kill him, or are you going to turn and fight? Then there's also the revive knockback mechanic, where that's pretty cool. You can self-revive yourself. That's very rare in the game as well. You don't see those as like a lot of self-revives in Warzone. And the final one is if you go up and execute somebody, you can, steal, essentially put your shield back up to full capacity. But I really like that knockback shield mechanic of like, man, little Timmy and Tommy constantly thirst me in the war zone, but I love bringing up that shield. But on the flip side, I absolutely hate shooting at that shield because there's such a cat and mouse game of like, do I thirst this kid and try to get through the shield, or do I know just to go find and kill his buddy because it's going to take a while to get through this?
So you're saying it works then, right? That's what you're saying.
I think it's a cool mechanic that works very well, that deters people from thirsting you. I love the idea of if you execute, you get full shield back. I like that there's one rare self-revive. I think that's a unique one that we didn't see in this time. And still to this day, nobody has a knockback shield in these games.
No, yeah.
It was a good strategy to add that in as like a way to be like, hey, you have to deal with the people that are still alive over here. And then it also adds to that ability where you don't necessarily have to get them respawned. If you win out the fight against the one or two other people that are still up, you can revive them and be good to go again.
Yeah. As well, the fun part is like when you're playing the cat and mouse game, and like Kevin would always be like, don't pop your knockback shield yet. Or like he'd be looking at him and he's like, that guy's got a purple one, Mike. Don't worry about it. Let's keep moving. He'd be looking for you to pop that gold for a second. So we knew if we had to thirst you or not. And I would always remember Kevin in the Apex of like, he'd be like, that guy's got blue, keep moving. And we'd look for the next kid. And if he said that kid got gold, the first thing we were doing is like, turn, you're dead, because we're not going to let you self-revive, and we want to steal that as well.
It was either if you see gold or they're not popping their shield, so they won't reveal the gold. That was like, and that's my go-to. Like, I got to kill that guy because I think he's up to something.
Yeah. Did we bring up friendly fire or fall damage? How there isn't any of that? Because Blackout didn't have, or Blackout had friendly fire.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Did Fortnite have friendly fire?
No friendly fire in Fortnite.
Okay. I was gonna say. Okay.
PUBG does or doesn't? I don't know.
No. Oh no, it does. I think it does. I think PUBG does. Yeah.
I'd be shooting at Kevin all the time, so I assume that there's always friendly fire because I'd be constantly shooting him in the back. But yeah, fall damage for sure is a big one, especially playing Warzone, Blackout. Like, not taking damage is like you just huck yourself in that video game, and then extreme vertigo sets in as you look down and you're hurtling 1,000 miles an hour at the ground in Apex.
Yeah.
My only
it just adds overall to that movement that they've created that is just so good. And like the fact that you can't take fall damage makes it so that you take advantage of every single bit of movement that you can.
My last question for the gang is, which map do you prefer? Kings Canyon or World's Edge?
World's Edge for me.
I mean,
for the variety of it. I mean, Kings Canyon is cool, but it's brown. You go on World's Edge and there's snow, there's lava, there's lush greens, there's cities, there's forests, there's this big tree, there's this big icicle, there's this like icicle shooting out of the ground. I just think there's more variety.
Kings Canyon had some more hills, is all to slide down. That's the only thing I liked about Kings Canyon was all the hills.
That was the good part about Kings Canyon for sure.
Sick hills, and it has the X Games spot, which is
yeah.
The X Games spot is a pretty cool spot. But I'm a World's Edge guy as well. I like the variety. I love the party barge. The idea of the new lava pits is I'm not a big fan of those, but it is interesting to see like how you can break up the map and like really change what your movement is going to be, like where you need to position yourself. That's interesting as well. But I'm a World's Edge type of guy for sure.
Yeah, World's Edge for sure.
Kings Canyon holds like a special place in my heart. Like going back to Kings Canyon now is kind of like I'm good with either map at this point, I would say, because they've redesigned it so much. But OG Kings Canyon with Thunderdome and Skull Town and the buildings in the in between bunker and artillery. I don't remember what that
yeah.
Cascades. Yeah, I liked when Cascades wasn't destroyed because I liked the way the buildings were and the sniper battles you could get in over there. So overall, the original Kings Canyon probably my favorite, but I like that they've made it so that it flips back and forth every hour or something like that, and like gives you a little variety. You're not getting the same thing every time.
Yeah, they've done an incredible job of making sure that they keep the player base together, as we've seen in PUBG when we were playing that back in the day of like the different maps that they had and, limiting how many people were really in that by putting on 4 different choices. I like that. It's like, hey, here's a timer. We're switching it up and everybody's staying together, but you still have that variety. That's a really cool idea, Maddock, that I've never seen before.
It's nice that it doesn't split up the player base or like you load into one of them and then people quit out. Like you can't quit out because you're still going to get loaded into that same map again.
Oh, we didn't talk about that feature they brought in where you can quit out. If you get disconnected and then you can still get put in the same game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they just added that though, right?
Yeah, they added like the beginning of the season, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very new. PUBG had it. I'll never forget the PUBG days when you would black screen out of PUBG. You'd immediately restart the game, and people would be like, I'm in, and you start moving around, hoping the guys are in. I mean, for the big one for me is like Apex, and Kevin knows, and you guys, if you watch the stream knows, like I suffered from crippling lag in Apex Legends for a full year of like getting tossed out by Coach Shu. Starting on the games would just be nonstop lag spikes, back and forth rubber banding, and eventually just dropped me out. Andy Cortez dealt with the blue screen for a long time. There was a lot, and I think that, reconnect mechanic is huge for sure. Of like, now at least I know I can get back in. We can continue to have the fun because that is so deflating to have an awesome, enjoyable moment in Apex Legends and just be tossed to the side, kicked out of it, and now have to sit in the lobby waiting for my friends to come back or let them down on the flip side as well.
Mm-hmm. I like that feature. It's a cool feature. Hopefully, Warzone.
What was your favorite map?
My favorite map?
Kevin?
Yeah, you never really specified.
It's tough. Like, it was King's Canyon, but ever since they destroyed, Skull Town and what's Thunderdome, right?
Thunderdome,
yeah. It just kind of
like the northeastern part too got destroyed or changed.
I didn't mind that too much. I like that new area right now, but yeah, ever since they destroyed Skull Town and Thunderdome, it feels a lot smaller to me going to that map. And then King's World's Edge, I hate those like what Mike said, the fire pits. That if you fall in, it boosts you up, but sometimes you can't make it up far enough to grab onto the ledge. So I don't know. It's tough. I guess I like both. All right. I think I like King's Canyon more though. Those hills are nice.
Yeah, sliding down those hills. It's all about it.
They're the best.
All right. Do we have any final thoughts on Apex Legends or have anything that we want to add in about like season 5 or are we good?
I mean, nothing else, right? And just keep going.
I think
Apex,
we're good.
dude.
We covered just about all of it.
Yeah.
I think for me, this game is still popular for a good reason, and that reason is that it's good. It's a good
and
game.
It feels good.
It's fun to play. It feels good. So
play Apex.
Exactly. It is part of the big 3 conversation for a reason. It is killer. It is fun, constantly changing, strong player base, and great fundamental gameplay. It's a killer battle royale.
Love it.
Now for our newest section, rank that battle royale. So far we've played
What do we have?
Ring of Elysium, Apex, and Super Animal Royale. We'll rank Warzone at a later date, but for the start, we are just gonna rank these 3. What should we? How do you want to do this?
Bottom to top. Start at the bottom.
Start at the bottom.
The worst one?
Apex.
If you
put in the bottom. Ring Elysium
I
top.
think this is pretty easy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
We're all
agree
going to
with you.
agree on this from what we've played over these past 4 episodes now.
All right, so our rankings so far are Ring of Elysium in third place, Super Animal Royale in second place, and Apex Legends in first place.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer right there.
Yeah.
I would easily agree with that.
Man, I feel bad for Ring Elysium just because they didn't have players.
And this
Yeah.
list is so small, and just know that there's going to be a lot of games between Super Animal Royale and Ring of Elysium because that's a
Yeah.
big jump because that game is awesome.
Yeah, it
there's
is.
more to come, especially next week as well.
So what's coming up next week, Maddock?
Next week we are hopping it back into PUBG in all its glory to backflip some motorcycles is my
Oh,
guess.
I'm
Are we gonna
backflip
win?
so many
Probably not. Are we
motorcycles.
gonna backflip motorcycles? Hell
Yep.
yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm pumped up about that idea. I'm not super pleased on returning to PUBG, but knowing how much fun we had doing dumb stuff in PUBG, from trolling the bridge to hucking backflips, I'm very excited about this.
It's a big one. I mean, it's one of the first ones we ever played that was more serious than Fortnite, I would say. So
Yep.
It'll be a change of pace for sure. And I'm excited to see what we all think next week and where we'll rank those battle royales.
Can't wait.
All right. And until next time, we have twitch.tv/bonejangles, twitch.tv/snowbikemike, twitch.tv/washburn135, and twitch.tv/KevinAceX.
That's right.
Bonejangles, I'm waiting.
Oh, shoot. Until next week, comms out.
There we go.